What's your rank anyway, clipboard girl? The words land like a grenade in the supply warehouse. Colt Brennan stands in the center of the aisle, arms crossed, dog tags catching the overhead fluorescent lights. 6 Navy SEALs fan out behind him, their tactical boots leaving dusty prints on the concrete floor. Every single one of them is staring at the woman with the inventory checklist. Maren Dalton does not look up. She marks another box on her clipboard, moves to the next shelf. Her pen scratches against paper in the sudden silence. Brennan takes a step closer. He is 6'2", 220 pounds of muscle and ego wrapped in desert camouflage. His reputation precedes him everywhere on this joint training compound. 3 combat deployments, Bronze Star, the kind of SEAL who walks into a room and expects everyone to notice. Right now, he expects this woman to notice. She does not. Hey, he snaps his fingers twice. I asked you a question. Maren sets her clipboard down on a crate of MREs. Her hands fall to her sides in a relaxed position, fingers slightly curved, weight balanced on both feet. To anyone else, it looks like she is simply standing there. But Master Chief Gideon Polk, watching from the far end of the warehouse, feels something cold crawl up his spine. That stance. He has seen it before, in places most people never come back from. Brennan does not notice. He is too busy playing to his audience. Come on, sweetheart. Rank and name. Basic military courtesy. He turns to his team with a grin. Or did they not teach you that in whatever admin school you crawled out of? Laughter ripples through the group. One of them, a younger SEAL with a fresh haircut, actually slaps his thigh. Maren lifts her eyes for the first time. They are calm, flat, the color of winter ice over deep water. Dalton, she says, just the name, nothing else. Dalton. Brennan rolls it around his mouth like he is tasting something bitter. Well, Dalton, let me explain how things work around here. This is a Tier 1 training facility. We train operators who go places and do things that would make your little clipboard burst into flames. And you? He gestures at her plain utility uniform, the complete absence of any insignia or rank. You are here to count boxes, so maybe stay in your lane. Yeah? He reaches out and flicks the corner of her clipboard. It clatters to the floor. The warehouse goes quiet. Maren looks down at the clipboard, looks back up at Brennan. Her expression does not change by a single millimeter. She bends down, picks up the clipboard, and continues her inventory. Brennan's jaw tightens. This is not the reaction he wanted. He wanted fear or anger or tears. Something he could mock, something he could dominate. Instead, he gets nothing. And nothing, to a man like Colt Brennan, is the worst insult of all. Whatever. He turns and walks away, his team falling in behind him. Waste of time. Come on, boys, we got real work to do. Their footsteps fade. The warehouse door bangs shut. Maren keeps marking boxes. Her pen does not tremble. Her posture does not shift. But in the corner of the warehouse, Gideon Polk remains frozen. 30 years in the Navy, he is trained with Force Recon. He has worked alongside CIA ground teams in places the maps do not show. And he has never, in all those years, seen anyone absorb that level of disrespect with such absolute control, unless they were trained to. He watches as Maren moves to the next row of supplies. Her movements are efficient, economical, no wasted motion. The way she checks each serial number, the way she positions herself so that no one can approach from behind without her knowing. Polk pulls out his phone, types a message to an old contact at JSOC, deletes it, types it again, deletes it again. Some things are better left unasked, but he cannot shake the feeling that whatever Maren Dalton is doing on this base, counting inventory, is not it. She endured that humiliation without a single word of defense. But silence, in the world she comes from, is never surrender. It is strategy. If you want to see what happens when a woman like this decides to stop being silent, subscribe now, hit the notification bell, and show your support by clicking the thanks button below. Trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next. The coastal compound sprawls across 300 acres of restricted California coastline. To the west, the Pacific Ocean crashes against cliffs that have witnessed 5 decades of classified operations. To the east, the Santa Ynez Mountains rise like a wall separating this world from the civilian one beyond. Officially, the facility is Joint Training Center Coronado West. Unofficially, it is where the best of the best come to break themselves down and build themselves back up again. SEALs, Delta, Marine Raiders, intelligence operators who do not exist on any organizational chart. And apparently, logistics clerks who count boxes. Marin finishes her warehouse inventory at 17:45. She logs the results on a tablet, submits the report to the quartermaster's office, and walks across the compound toward the temporary barracks assigned to support personnel. The California sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. She passes groups of operators heading to the mess hall, their conversations going quiet as she walks by. Word travels fast on a base this small. By now, everyone knows about the woman who did not flinch when Colt Brennan tried to intimidate her. Some of them think she is stupid. Some of them think she is brave. None of them know the truth. Her room is small. Single bed. Metal desk. One window with a view of the motor pool. She locks the door behind her, checks the corners out of habit, then sits down at the desk and opens her laptop. The screen glows blue in the dim light. She types a password, then another, then presses her thumb against a hidden sensor on the laptop's edge. The display changes. A secure communication interface opens, marked with classification headers that would make most Pentagon officials nervous. Marin types quickly. Asset in position. Day 4. Viper network confirmed active on base. 3 possibles identified. Require additional time to isolate primary. She hits send. The message vanishes into encrypted darkness. For a long moment she sits there, staring at the screen. Then she reaches into her pocket and pulls out a small object. A challenge coin. It is old, worn. The insignia on one side has been rubbed smooth by years of handling. But the other side is still clear. An eagle clutching a broken chain with a number beneath it that officially does not exist. Directorate 7. Marin runs her thumb across the surface. A ritual, a reminder. Then she puts the coin away, closes the laptop, and lies down on the bed. She does not sleep. She rarely does anymore. Instead, she stares at the ceiling and reviews everything she knows. 6 months ago, Pentagon intelligence identified a leak within the Special Operations community. Classified mission parameters were showing up in enemy hands. Operators were walking into ambushes. 3 teams had been compromised in as many months. Someone on the inside was selling information, and the trail led here to this joint training facility, where personnel from every Tier 1 unit rotated through on a regular basis. Marin's mission is simple. Find the leak, identify the network, and burn it to the ground. Her cover is simpler, a temporary logistics clerk, beneath notice, beneath suspicion. The kind of person that men like Colt Brennan step on without a second thought, which is exactly what she needs them to do. Because people reveal themselves when they think no one important is watching. They get careless. They make mistakes. And Marin Dalton is very, very good at watching. The mess hall at 0600 is a study in military hierarchy. Officers cluster near the windows, their conversations low and serious. Enlisted personnel fill the center tables, louder, more relaxed. And support staff, the clerks and cooks and maintenance workers who keep the machine running, occupy the corners where no one looks twice. Marin takes her tray to the far corner. Powdered eggs, toast, black coffee. She eats methodically, her attention seemingly focused on her food. In reality, she is cataloging every face in the room. There. Lieutenant Commander Jared Stanton, the base XO, sitting with 2 other officers near the coffee station. He is 43, prematurely gray, with the kind of permanent frown that suggests he finds everything around him vaguely disappointing. His service record is impressive on paper, but there are gaps. Unexplained transfers, a tour in Afghanistan that ended 6 weeks early with no official explanation. Marin has flagged him as a possible. And there, Chief Warrant Officer Nash Caldwell, head of base IT security, hunched over a laptop at a table by himself. He is younger than Stanton, maybe 35, with the pale complexion of someone who spends too much time in server rooms. His job gives him access to every digital communication on the compound. His bank records, which Marin accessed 3 days ago, show deposits that do not match his pay grade. Caldwell is more than a possible. He is a probable. The third face is the one that bothers her most. Lieutenant Everett Holt sits 2 tables away, laughing at something one of his teammates said. He is handsome in a generic way, with an easy smile and the kind of charm that makes people trust him instantly. Yesterday, he stopped Marin in the hallway and asked if she needed help carrying a box of supplies. It was a small kindness, the kind that anyone might offer. But Marin has learned to distrust small kindnesses from men in positions like his, especially when those men appear in hallways at exactly the right moment, as if they have been waiting. She files Holt in the watch category. Not confirmed, not cleared, just watched. The mess hall door opens. Colt Brennan walks in with his usual entourage, their voices cutting through the ambient noise like chainsaws through plywood. He spots Marin immediately. Well, well! He changes course, heading straight for her corner. If it is not clipboard girl, Dalton, right? She does not look up from her eggs. Brennan slides into the seat across from her, uninvited. His teammates arrange themselves around the table like wolves circling a wounded deer. You know, he says, leaning forward on his elbows, I have been thinking about you, trying to figure out what your deal is. Marin takes a sip of coffee. Because here is the thing. Brennan's smile does not reach his eyes. I have never seen you before, and I know everyone on this base. So either you are new, which means someone should have introduced you properly, or you are hiding something, which means... He lets the implication hang in the air. One of his teammates, a SEAL with a shaved head and a neck like a tree trunk, leans in. Maybe she is a reporter. You know how they sneak onto bases trying to get dirt on us? Maybe. Brennan studies her face. Or maybe she is just a nobody who got lost on her way to a desk job and ended up here by accident. Either way, I think it is time someone reminded her where she stands in the food chain. He reaches across the table and picks up her coffee cup, takes a long sip, sets it back down in front of her. Thanks for the coffee, Dalton. He winks. See you around. The group moves off, their laughter echoing through the mess hall. Marin looks at the coffee cup, looks at the door Brennan just walked through. Her expression remains perfectly neutral. But under the table, her right hand has curled into a fist, not from anger, from something else. Something that wants very badly to show Colt Brennan exactly where he stands in the food chain. She uncurls her fingers, takes a slow breath. 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out. Not yet. The mission comes first, always. From across the mess hall, Gideon Polk watches the entire exchange. He watches Marin's non-reaction. He watches her controlled breathing. He watches the way her eyes track Brennan all the way to the door, the way a sniper tracks a target through a scope. He has seen that look before too, and it terrifies him. The first photograph appears in the base's unofficial group chat at 1400 hours. Marin's face caught mid-sentence as she talks to a supply clerk near the motor pool. Someone has added a caption in bold letters. Anyone know who this is? Brennan says she cannot even answer basic questions. Within 30 minutes, there are 47 comments, probably some admiral's daughter on a military experience trip. Nah, too plain. More like somebody's secretary who got lost. $10 says she washes out before the week is over. 20 says she cries first. The comments keep coming, each one meaner than the last. Each one chipping away at the professional reputation of a woman most of them have never even spoken to. Marin sees the chat on her personal phone that evening. She scrolls through every comment, her face expressionless. Then she screenshots the entire thread and saves it to an encrypted folder. Evidence. Because whoever started this campaign of harassment is not just being cruel. They are testing her, probing her defenses, seeing if she will break or complain or do something that draws official attention, which means someone on this base is nervous about her presence, which means she is getting close. The next morning brings a new development. Marin arrives at the supply warehouse at 0700 to find Nash Caldwell waiting for her. The IT chief is leaning against the door, his laptop bag slung over one shoulder, his expression carefully neutral. Miss Dalton, he pushes off the wall as she approaches. I need a word. She stops, waits. There has been some unusual activity on our network, Caldwell says. Someone accessed classified personnel files 2 nights ago. The access point was traced to a terminal in the quartermaster's office. He pauses. Your terminal. Marin's expression does not change. I have access to inventory systems, not personnel files. That is what makes it unusual. Caldwell's eyes narrow slightly. The access codes used were above your clearance level, way above, which raises some interesting questions about how a temporary logistics clerk got her hands on them. I do not have those codes. Then someone used your terminal without your knowledge. He tilts his head, which raises a different set of interesting questions. Marin says nothing. She has learned that silence is often the best response to fishing expeditions. Caldwell studies her for a long moment. Then he smiles, and the smile does not match his eyes at all. I am sure it is just a glitch in the system. These things happen. He steps aside, gesturing toward the warehouse door. But I will be keeping an eye on you, Miss Dalton, just in case. He walks away, his footsteps fading across the concrete. Marin watches him go. Her face remains calm, but her mind is racing. She did access those files 3 nights ago, using a set of codes provided by her handlers at the Pentagon. The access was supposed to be untraceable, routed through 17 different servers and masked by a sophisticated spoofing algorithm. Caldwell should not have been able to detect it, unless he was specifically looking for it, unless he already knew someone was investigating the leak, unless he is part of it. She files this information away, adds it to the growing picture in her head. Caldwell, Stanton, Holt. A network of 3, maybe more, embedded within the base's command structure. The question is no longer whether there is a conspiracy. The question is how deep it goes. That afternoon, Marin witnesses her first real clue. She is reorganizing a shelf of communications equipment in the back of the warehouse when voices drift through the thin wall separating her from the adjacent storage bay. Delivery is confirmed for Thursday. The voice is male, tense, slightly muffled. The buyer wants the entire package, satellite intercepts, mission schedules, everything. That is a lot of data to move. A second voice, calmer, more authoritative. How are we getting it out? Caldwell has a dead drop set up off base, digital transfer to a burner server, then physical pickup by the contact. And if someone notices? They will not. Everyone will be focused on the Admiral's visit. Perfect cover. Marin presses closer to the wall, barely breathing. What about the woman? The second voice again. The clerk. Caldwell says she might be a problem. She is nobody, some bean counter with a clipboard. A dismissive snort. If she gets too curious, we handle it the same way we handled the last one. That was messy. It was necessary, and this one will be too, if it comes to it. Footsteps, the sound of a door opening and closing. Silence. Marin stays frozen for a full 60 seconds. Her heart is pounding, but her hands are steady. She pulls out her phone, opens the voice memo app, and records everything she just heard while it is still fresh in her memory. Then she adds one more note. Delivery Thursday. Admiral visit as cover. At least 2 subjects involved. Possible termination threat against asset. She sends the encrypted message, deletes all traces from her phone, and goes back to reorganizing the shelf like nothing happened. But inside, something has shifted. They know about her, maybe not who she is, but that she is a threat, and they are willing to kill to protect their operation. The stakes just got significantly higher. She just discovered a network of traitors planning to sell classified intelligence. They have already killed to protect their secret, and now they are talking about doing it again. To her. What would you do if you were in her position? Comment your answer below. Because what happens next, you will not believe. The night comes with a storm. Rain hammers against the barracks windows as Marin reviews her notes on the laptop. The wind howls across the compound, rattling doors and setting off motion sensors that the security team has learned to ignore. Perfect conditions for someone who does not want to be seen. At 2200 hours, she hears footsteps in the hallway outside her door. They stop. Right outside. Marin closes the laptop silently, slides off the bed, moves to the corner of the room where the shadows are deepest and the angle of approach from the door is most disadvantageous. A soft click, the sound of a lockpick working against cheap military housing security. The door swings open. 2 figures enter. They are wearing dark clothes and balaclavas, their movements quick and professional. One heads straight for the desk where her laptop sat moments ago. The other moves toward the bed, where a pillow shaped vaguely like a sleeping body lies under the covers. Marin presses herself deeper into the shadow, controls her breathing, waits. It is not here, the first figure hisses, pawing through the desk drawers. The laptop is gone. Check under the mattress. People hide things under mattresses. The second figure rips the covers off the bed, finds only pillows, curses under his breath. She is not here either. Then where is she? How should I know? Maybe she went to the latrine. At 2200 in a storm? Some people have weak bladders. The first figure straightens, looks around the room. His gaze passes over the corner where Marin stands, but the shadows are too deep, and he is not expecting anyone to be there. Forget it. We will try again tomorrow. Caldwell needs those files, and if we cannot find them here, we will have to get them another way. What about her? Holt is handling that. He has got her trust. Says she actually smiled at him yesterday. Holt is an idiot. Holt is useful. There is a difference. They move toward the door. One of them pauses, hand on the frame. If she knows too much, we take care of it before the Admiral arrives. Clean, quiet, another training accident. Agreed. The door closes. The footsteps fade. Marin stays in the corner for another 5 minutes. Then she moves to the window and watches two dark figures cross the compound toward the administration building. One of them walks with a slight limp. The other has broad shoulders and a distinctive gait she recognizes from the mess hall. Caldwell and Holt. The network is bigger than she thought. And now she knows for certain, Holt's friendliness was never genuine. He was assigned to her, a handler, a watcher, a wolf in sheep's clothing. She pulls out her phone, types a message. Room compromised. Caldwell and Holt confirmed as active participants. Threat level elevated. Request immediate extraction authorization. The response comes 30 seconds later. Negative on extraction. Mission priority unchanged. Identify primary source. Burn network. Trust no one. Marin reads the message twice. Then she deletes it and starts packing. She cannot stay in this room, but she cannot leave the base either. Which means she needs to find somewhere safe to hide until she can figure out her next move. The supply warehouse. It has a back storage area that almost no one uses, filled with obsolete equipment waiting for disposal. She can set up there, at least for tonight. She grabs her laptop, her phone, and the challenge coin that never leaves her pocket. Everything else is expendable. The storm is still raging when she slips out the window and disappears into the rain. Morning brings chaos. At 06:30, Lieutenant Commander Stanton calls an emergency all-hands meeting in the base auditorium. Every person on the compound, from the lowest enlisted clerk to the highest-ranking officer, is required to attend. Marin finds a seat in the back row near the exit. Her clothes are slightly damp from a night spent in the warehouse, but no one notices. Support staff are invisible here. Stanton takes the stage. His face is grim. "I will keep this brief," he announces, his voice carrying across the crowded room. "We have reason to believe there is a security breach on this installation. Someone has been accessing classified systems without authorization. Someone has been photographing restricted areas. And someone," he pauses for effect, "has been transmitting encrypted communications to unknown recipients outside the base." A murmur runs through the audience. As of this moment, the compound is on security lockdown. No one enters or leaves without my personal authorization. All electronic devices will be subject to inspection. And anyone with information about suspicious activity is ordered to report it immediately. His eyes scan the crowd. This is not a request. Marin keeps her expression neutral, but she notices something interesting. Stanton is not looking at the crowd in general. He is looking at her, specifically, directly, like he knows exactly where she is sitting, which means someone told him. She glances to her right. 3 rows ahead, Caldwell is watching her too. And near the front of the auditorium, Holt has turned in his seat, his easy smile replaced by something colder. They are all looking at her. The trap is closing. "Furthermore," Stanton continues, "I have received information that the source of this breach may be operating under the cover of support personnel. Specifically, a recent transfer to our logistics section. He does not say her name. He does not need to. This individual will be detained for questioning immediately following this briefing." The murmur becomes a roar. Heads turn, eyes find Marin in the back row, whispers spread like wildfire. "I knew there was something wrong with her. Brennan called it. He said she was suspicious. A spy, on our base. Can you believe it?" Marin does not move, does not speak, does not give them the satisfaction of a reaction. But her mind is working furiously. They are framing her, using her as a scapegoat to cover their own activities. If she is arrested, investigated, and discredited, no one will believe anything she says about the real traitors. Her evidence will be dismissed as the desperate lies of a captured spy. It is elegant, in a brutal sort of way. And it is working. The briefing ends. 2 military police officers approach her row. "Miss Dalton," the senior MP is stone-faced. "Please come with us. She could run. She could fight. She has the training for both, but running would confirm her guilt in everyone's eyes, and fighting would compromise her mission beyond recovery." So she stands, offers her wrists for the handcuffs, and lets them lead her out of the auditorium in front of 200 witnesses. As she passes Colt Brennan, he leans in close. "Told you," he whispers. Should have stayed in your lane, clipboard girl. She does not respond, does not even look at him. But somewhere deep inside, behind the walls she has built around herself, a small flame flickers. Patience. The mission is not over. The network is not burned, and she is not done. Not by a long shot. They take her to a holding room in the security building. Concrete walls, metal table, 2 chairs bolted to the floor, a single fluorescent light buzzing overhead like an angry insect. Marin sits in one chair. Her hands are cuffed in front of her. The door opens. Stanton walks in, followed by Caldwell. They sit across from her. Stanton opens a folder. Caldwell sets up a laptop. Let us start with the basics. Stanton's voice is flat, professional. Name? Dalton. Marin. Assignment? Temporary logistics support. Inventory management. How long have you been on this base? 4 days. Stanton nods slowly, flips a page in the folder. And in those 4 days, Miss Dalton, you have accessed restricted personnel files. You have photographed classified equipment. You have transmitted encrypted messages to unknown recipients. He looks up. Would you like to explain any of that? I have not done any of those things. We have evidence that says otherwise. Then your evidence is fabricated. Caldwell laughs. It is not a pleasant sound. That is rich, he says. Caught red-handed, and she is already crying frame up. He shakes his head. Lady, we trace the access to your terminal, your login credentials, your IP address. It is all documented. Anyone with sufficient technical knowledge could spoof those credentials. Caldwell's eyes narrow. Are you accusing me of something? I'm stating a fact. The room goes quiet. Stanton closes the folder. Miss Dalton, he says, I am going to give you one chance to make this easy on yourself. Tell us who you are working for. Tell us what you have transmitted. And maybe we can arrange for a deal with the prosecutor. Marin meets his gaze. I am working for the United States government. I have transmitted nothing that compromises national security, and the only people in this room who should be worried about prosecutors are the 2 of you. Stanton's expression flickers, just for a moment, just enough for Marin to see the fear underneath. Get her out of here, he says to Caldwell. Put her in the isolation cell. No communication with anyone until I say otherwise. Caldwell stands, grabs Marin's arm, pulls her toward the door. As they leave, Stanton's voice follows them. And Caldwell, make sure she does not talk to anyone at all. The words hang in the air like a death sentence. The isolation cell is in the basement of the security building. No windows, no cameras, no witnesses. Caldwell shoves her inside and locks the door. Get comfortable, he says through the bars. You are going to be here for a while. His footsteps fade up the stairs. Marin stands in the center of the cell. The handcuffs are still on her wrists. The fluorescent light flickers overhead. She is alone, trapped, cut off from her handlers, her evidence, her mission. And somewhere above her, a network of traitors is preparing to sell classified intelligence to the highest bidder. She closes her eyes, takes a breath. 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out. Think, what are the options? The handcuffs are standard military issue. With the right leverage, she could slip them. But that still leaves the locked door, the stairs, and whatever guards Caldwell has posted. Her phone was confiscated during the arrest. Her laptop is still hidden in the warehouse, but she has no way to reach it. The evidence on Holt's phone, the messages she overheard, the files she collected, all of it is useless if she cannot get it to someone who will believe her. She needs an ally, someone outside the network, someone who has enough authority to act on what she knows. Gideon Polk. The Master Chief has been watching her since day one. He recognized something in her that the others missed. If she can get a message to him, he might be willing to listen. But how? The cell door has a small slot at the bottom for food trays. The guards will bring meals at standard intervals. If she can pass a note to whoever delivers the food. It is a long shot. The guard might be part of the network. The note might never reach Polk. 100 things could go wrong, but right now it is the only shot she has. She tears a strip from the hem of her shirt, uses a loose screw from the bed frame to scratch letters into the fabric, one agonizing character at a time. Polk, warehouse backroom, laptop, evidence. Stanton Caldwell Holt. Trust no one else. It takes 2 hours. Her fingers are raw by the end. When the food tray slides through the slot at 1800, she palms the strip of fabric and presses it into the guard's hand as she takes the tray. Please, she whispers. "Master Chief Polk, it is life or death." The guard hesitates, looks at the fabric, looks at her. Then he pockets it and walks away without a word. Marin watches him go. Either that message reaches Polk, and she has a chance, or it does not. And by this time tomorrow, she will be another training accident statistic. The hours crawl by. She does not sleep. Cannot sleep. Every creak of the building, every distant footstep, sends her heart racing. At 2300, the basement door opens. Heavy footsteps on the stairs. Multiple people, coming down fast. Marin presses herself against the far wall of the cell. Her hands are still cuffed, but she shifts her weight to her back foot, ready to move. The footsteps stop outside her door. A key turns in the lock. The door swings open. Everett Holt stands in the doorway. He is alone. His easy smile is gone, replaced by something hard and cold. In his hand, he holds a tactical knife. "Nothing personal," he says, stepping into the cell. "You just saw too much." Marin does not back away, does not beg, does not scream. She simply watches him approach, her eyes tracking the knife, calculating distance and angle and timing. One chance. She will only get one chance. Holt raises the knife, and Marin moves. She catches his wrists with her cuffed hands, redirecting the blade away from her body. Uses the chain of the handcuffs as a pivot point, twisting his arm against the joint. His grip falters. She loops the chain around his wrist and pulls, using her hip to generate torque. Holt's shoulder wrenches. He drops the knife. Before he can recover, she drives her elbow into his solar plexus. He doubles over, gasping. She grabs the back of his head and slams it into her rising knee. He crumples. The entire fight takes 8 seconds. Marin stands over his unconscious body, picks up the knife, cuts the chain between her handcuffs. Then she searches his pockets. Keys, ID badge, and a phone. She opens the phone, scrolls through his messages. Everything is there. Every conversation with Stanton and Caldwell, every detail of the network, every piece of evidence she needs to burn them all. She screenshots everything, saves it to the phone's memory. Then she heads for the stairs. Behind her, Holt groans. He will wake up in a few minutes with a headache and some bruised dignity. He will live, more than he deserves. She reaches the top of the stairs, cracks the door open. The security building is quiet. Most of the staff have gone home for the night. 2 guards stand near the front entrance, but the back door is unattended. She slips through, disappears into the darkness of the compound. The storm has passed. The stars are out. And somewhere in that sky, a satellite is relaying her movements to a Pentagon command center that is about to get very, very busy. But first, she needs to reach Polk. And then, she needs to end this. The warehouse is dark when she arrives. Marin moves through the aisles by memory, her bare feet silent on the concrete floor. The back storage room is exactly as she left it. Obsolete equipment, forgotten crates, and one laptop hidden inside an empty ammunition case. She opens the case. The laptop is there, along with a burner phone and a change of clothes. She powers on the laptop, types her passwords, opens the secure communication interface. Asset compromised, network identified, evidence secured, requesting immediate support. The response is almost instant. Support inbound. Admiral Whitmore en route. ETA 1400 tomorrow. Maintain cover until arrival. Maintain cover, as if she still has one. But at least help is coming. 1400 hours. That gives her 16 hours to survive. 16 hours with a compromised identity, a base full of enemies, and 3 traitors who want her dead. She has faced worse odds. A noise at the warehouse entrance. Footsteps. Marin closes the laptop and slides into the shadows between 2 crates. The footsteps come closer. Pause at the entrance to the back storage room. Then a voice, low and rough. "I know you are in here, Dalton. The guard delivered your message." Gideon Polk steps into the room. He is alone. His hands are empty. His face is unreadable in the dim light. "I found your laptop," he says. "Read what was on it." He pauses. "Directorate 7. I thought they were a myth." Marin steps out of the shadows. "We prefer it that way." Polk studies her for a long moment. 30 years of service, countless missions, friends and enemies and everything in between. He has seen things that would break most people, and he has never, in all those years, stopped being able to recognize the real thing when he sees it. "Stanton is the primary," he says. "It is not a question." "Yes." Caldwell handles the technical side. Yes. And Holt? He is currently unconscious in the isolation cell with a concussion and a dislocated shoulder. Polk's lips twitch, almost a smile. Good. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a sat phone. I have some friends who might be interested in what you have to show them. Old friends, the kind who do not ask questions before they act. Marin nods. Admiral Whitmore is already en route. I know. I spoke to him an hour ago. Polk's expression hardens. But Stanton knows the Admiral is coming too. He is planning to move the delivery up. Tonight, instead of Thursday. He thinks he can get the data out before anyone can stop him. Where? The main briefing room. Midnight. He has a buyer meeting him there. Marin checks the time. 23:45, 15 minutes. Then we need to stop him. Polk holds out the sat phone. Or we wait for backup and let the Admiral handle it. Marin looks at the phone, looks at Polk. If we wait, the data is gone. 3 months of intelligence. Names of assets in this field. Mission parameters that will get people killed. And if we do not wait, it is just the two of us against Stanton, Caldwell, and however many guards they have bought. I have faced worse odds. Polk's almost smile returns. Yeah, he says. I figured you would say that. He tucks the phone away, pulls something else from his jacket. A weapon, standard military sidearm. He hands it to her. Safety is on the left, magazine is full. Marin takes the weapon, checks the chamber, clicks off the safety. Then let us go burn a network. They move through the compound like ghosts. The rain-soaked ground muffles their footsteps. The clouds have returned, blocking the stars and plunging the base into darkness. The main briefing room is located in the administration building, a 2-story structure at the center of the compound. Lights glow in the ground floor windows, shadows move behind the blinds. Polk signals, 2 guards at the front entrance, 1 more at the side door. Marin signals back, she will take the side, he will take the front. 3 minutes to midnight, she circles around to the side of the building. The guard there is young, nervous, constantly checking his phone. An amateur, probably paid off with promises rather than threats. She waits until he looks away, then she moves. 1 hand over his mouth, the other on his weapon, preventing him from drawing. A quick twist, a controlled takedown, and he is unconscious on the ground. She zip-ties his hands and ankles, gags him, drags him into the bushes. Then she moves to the side door, locked. But the lock is electronic and she still has Holt's ID badge. She swipes the badge. The light turns green. She is in. The hallway is dim, lit only by emergency exit signs. She moves toward the briefing room, weapon ready, senses on high alert, voices ahead, through a closed door. Transfer is almost complete. Caldwell's voice, tense and hurried. Another 2 minutes and we will have everything. Make it faster. Stanton, cold, commanding. The Admiral's plane lands in 14 hours. I want us long gone by then. And the woman? Holt was supposed to handle her. He has not checked in. Then she might still be a problem. She is 1 woman against an entire base. Even if she escaped, what can she do? Marin presses against the wall beside the door, checks her weapon 1 more time. Time to show them. She kicks open the door. The briefing room freezes. Stanton is standing by the main display, a tablet in his hand. Caldwell is hunched over a laptop, fingers frozen on the keyboard. 2 armed guards flank the door, but they are slow, unprepared for an assault from inside the building. Marin shoots the first guard's weapon out of his hand before he can raise it. The second guard goes for his sidearm, but she is already moving, closing the distance, using the conference table as cover. Nobody move! Polk bursts through the main entrance at the same moment, his own weapon trained on Stanton. On the ground, now! The room erupts. Stanton dives for the side exit. Caldwell slams the laptop shut and runs for the window. The guards scramble for cover. Marin vaults the conference table, pursuing Caldwell. He is fast, but she is faster. She catches him 3 steps from the window, hooks his ankle, sends him sprawling. The laptop skids across the floor. She pins him with a knee on his back, zip-ties his wrists. You are done. Behind her, Polk has Stanton on his knees, hands behind his head. The guards have surrendered, their weapons on the ground. It is over. Marin picks up the laptop, opens it. The transfer is still running, 92% complete. She cancels it, disconnects the network, saves the evidence. Then she turns to Stanton. Lieutenant Commander Jared Stanton, you are under arrest for espionage, conspiracy, and treason against the United States. Stanton's face twists with rage. "You have no authority here. You are nobody. A clerk. A ghost." Marin reaches up and tears the sleeve of her shirt. The tattoo is there, an eagle clutching a broken chain, the insignia of a unit that does not exist. Stanton's face goes white. "Directorate 7, Polk says quietly. "They are very real, Commander. And this woman has more authority in her little finger than you have had in your entire career." The room goes silent. Outside, the sound of helicopters. 1, 2, 3. Admiral Whitmore is early. The isolation cell is in the basement of the security building. No windows, no cameras, no witnesses. Caldwell shoves her inside and locks the door. "Get comfortable," he says through the bars. "You are going to be here for a while. The Admiral arrives tomorrow afternoon. By then, your story will already be written." His footsteps fade up the stairs. Marin stands in the center of the cell. The handcuffs are still on her wrists. The fluorescent light flickers overhead. She is alone, trapped, cut off from her handlers, her evidence, her mission. And somewhere above her, a network of traitors is preparing to sell classified intelligence while pinning every crime on her. She closes her eyes, takes a breath. 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out. Think. What are the options? The handcuffs are standard military issue. With the right leverage, she could slip them. But that still leaves the locked door, the stairs, and whatever guards Caldwell has posted. Her phone was confiscated during the arrest. Her laptop is still hidden in the warehouse, but she has no way to reach it. She needs an ally. Someone outside the network, someone with authority. Gideon Polk. She tears a strip from the hem of her shirt, uses a loose screw from the bed frame to scratch letters into the fabric. Polk, warehouse back room, laptop, evidence, Stanton Caldwell Holt, trust no one else. When the food tray slides through the slot at 1800, she presses the fabric into the guard's hand. "Master Chief Polk, life or death." The guard hesitates, then pockets it and walks away. Either that message reaches Polk, or by tomorrow she becomes another training accident. The hours crawl past. At 2300, the basement door opens. Heavy footsteps descend. A key turns in the lock. Everett Holt stands in the doorway. His easy smile is gone. In his hand, he holds a tactical knife. "Nothing personal," he says, stepping into the cell. "You just saw too much. Stanton wants this clean. Quick, no traces." Marin does not back away. "You are making a mistake, Lieutenant. The only mistake was letting you get this far." He raises the knife. "Hold still. This will be easier for both of us." He lunges. Marin catches his wrist with her cuffed hands, redirecting the blade past her shoulder. She loops the chain around his forearm, twists against the joint. His grip falters. The knife clatters to the concrete. Before he can recover, she drives her elbow into his solar plexus. He doubles over. She grabs the back of his head and slams it into her rising knee. Holt crumples, 8 seconds from start to finish. Marin stands over his unconscious body, breathing controlled. She picks up the knife, cuts the chain between her cuffs. Then she searches his pockets. Keys, ID badge, and a phone. She opens it, scrolls through his messages. Everything is there. Conversations with Stanton and Caldwell, delivery schedules, buyer contacts, the entire network laid bare in text form. She screenshots everything, saves it to the phone's memory. Then she hears footsteps at the top of the stairs. She presses against the wall beside the door, raises the knife. The footsteps descend, slow, deliberate. A figure appears in the doorway. Gideon Polk. He looks at Holt on the floor, looks at the knife in her hand. His expression does not change. "I got your message," he says. "Found the laptop, read everything." He pauses. "Directorate 7. I thought they were just rumors." "We prefer it that way." Polk nods slowly. "Stanton is the primary?" "Yes, Caldwell handles technical. Holt was their cleanup man." "Was?" "He will wake up with a headache and a dislocated shoulder. He will live." "More than he deserves." Polk reaches into his jacket, pulls out a sat phone. "Admiral Whitmore lands at 1400 tomorrow. I spoke to his aide an hour ago. He knows something is wrong, but not the details." Then we give him the details, in person, in front of everyone. Polk studies her face. 30 years of service. He has seen operators of every kind. But something about this woman is different. "There is a briefing scheduled for 14:30, he says. "Stanton plans to present you as the captured spy. Full dog and pony show. Every officer on base will be there." "Perfect." "Perfect?" Polk raises an eyebrow. "He will have you in handcuffs, guards on every door. You will be the main exhibit in his theater of lies, which means every person I need to see will be in one room. Marin pockets Holt's phone, including the Admiral. Polk is silent for a moment, then he almost smiles. You planned this, from the beginning. You let them arrest you. I needed them confident, careless. I needed Holt to come down here alone, thinking I was helpless. She gestures at the unconscious lieutenant. Confident people make mistakes. Careless people bring evidence. And if he had killed you before you could react, then my handlers would have burned the network from the outside. Slower, messier, but the mission would still be complete. Polk shakes his head. You people are something else. We are what the mission requires. She moves toward the stairs. Now, I need to get back to my cell. Back to your cell? Stanton expects to find me here tomorrow morning, defeated, broken, ready to be paraded in front of the Admiral. Her eyes are cold. I intend to give him exactly what he expects, until I do not. She hands Polk the phone with Holt's messages. Keep this safe. When I give the signal tomorrow, send everything to the main display in the briefing room. Can you access the system? I have friends in communications. Consider it done. Good. She turns back toward the cell. Oh, and Master Chief, make sure Brennan is in that room tomorrow. Brennan? The SEAL who has been tormenting you? Him exactly. A ghost of something crosses her face. Not quite a smile. He owes me. Tomorrow, he pays. 14:27. The main briefing room is filled to capacity. Officers line the walls. Senior enlisted fill the back rows. Department heads occupy the center seats. At the front, Admiral Thaddeus Whitmore sits with his aide, reviewing documents on a tablet. He arrived 30 minutes ago, 3 Black Hawks on the parade ground, full security detail. The kind of entrance that reminds everyone who holds real power on this base. Stanton stands at the podium, sweating slightly under the fluorescent lights. Admiral, ladies and gentlemen, he begins, thank you for assembling on short notice. As you know, we have been dealing with a serious security breach over the past several days. He clicks a remote. The main display shows Marin's personnel photo. This woman, calling herself Marin Dalton, infiltrated our base under the guise of a temporary logistics clerk. Our investigation has revealed that she accessed classified systems, photographed restricted equipment, and transmitted encrypted communications to unknown foreign recipients. Murmurs ripple through the room. She was apprehended yesterday and is currently in custody awaiting transfer to a military detention facility. Stanton's voice drips with satisfaction. I want to commend Chief Warrant Officer Caldwell and Lieutenant Holt for their vigilance in identifying this threat. Caldwell, seated near the side door, nods modestly. Holt is notably absent, a bandage on his head. Medical excuse. Whitmore's expression remains unreadable. You have evidence to support these accusations, Commander? Extensive evidence, sir. Access logs, communication intercepts, witness statements. Stanton gestures to the door. In fact, I thought it might be instructive to bring the prisoner here. Let everyone see the face of betrayal. The door opens. 2 MPs escort Marin into the room. Her hands are cuffed in front of her. Her uniform is rumpled from a night in the cell. She walks with her head down, shoulders slumped, the picture of defeat. Brennan watches from his position near the back wall. He feels a strange mix of satisfaction and unease. Satisfaction because the woman who made him look foolish is now in chains. Unease because something about this feels wrong. She looks too calm, too composed. Even with her head down, there is no fear in her posture. Stanton smiles as the MPs position her at the front of the room. As you can see, Admiral, the threat has been neutralized. Our security protocols worked exactly as designed. Whitmore studies Marin for a long moment. Then he turns to Stanton. Before we proceed, Commander, I have a question. Of course, sir. If this woman is a foreign agent, why did my office receive a classified communication 3 hours ago indicating that a Directorate 7 asset was operating on this base? An asset whose mission was to identify internal security breaches? The room goes silent. Stanton's smile freezes. I am not familiar with any such communication, Admiral. No? Whitmore's voice hardens. Then perhaps you can explain why the communication included detailed allegations against you, Chief Warrant Officer Caldwell, and Lieutenant Holt. Allegations supported by evidence that is, at this very moment, being uploaded to this room's display system. He nods toward the back of the room. Polk presses a button on his phone. The main display flickers. Marin's photo disappears. In its place, screenshots of text messages. Caldwell to Stanton. Holt to Caldwell. Dates. Times. Details of classified information being packaged for sale. The room erupts. Officers shout questions. Caldwell bolts from his seat toward the side door. 2 MPs intercept him before he takes 3 steps. Stanton's face cycles through shock, denial, and finally rage. "This is a setup," he snarls. "She fabricated all of this. That evidence is fake. I am the executive officer of this installation. I demand—" "You demand nothing." Whitmore rises from his seat. "Agent Dalton, report." Marin lifts her head. The defeat is gone. The slumped shoulders straighten. The downcast eyes become steel. "Admiral, primary target Stanton confirmed as network leader. Secondary Caldwell handled data extraction and technical security. Tertiary Holt served as internal surveillance and cleanup. Delivery to foreign buyer was scheduled for tonight, using your visit as cover for the distraction." She speaks with the crisp precision of someone delivering a mission briefing, which, in fact, she is. Evidence has been preserved on multiple devices: communication logs, financial records, and testimony from the buyer's vessel, which I understand was intercepted offshore 3 hours ago. Whitmore nods. "Confirmed. Coast Guard has the crew in custody. They are being very cooperative." Stanton lunges toward Marin. "You lying witch, I will—" Brennan moves without thinking. He steps between Stanton and Marin, one arm blocking the commander's path. His other hand catches Stanton's wrist before it can reach her. "Sir." Brennan's voice is steady. "You need to stand down." Stanton stares at him with wild eyes. "Get out of my way, Chief. That is an order." "No, sir." Brennan does not move. "That is not an order I can follow." For a moment, nobody breathes. Then Stanton tries to push past him. Brennan shifts his weight, redirects the movement, and puts the commander on the ground with a controlled takedown. "Stay down, sir." There is no pleasure in Brennan's voice, only duty. "Just stay down." MPs swarm forward. Stanton is zip-tied and hauled to his feet, still screaming about conspiracies and frame jobs. In the chaos, one of the MPs grabs Marin's arm to steady her. His grip catches her sleeve, already weakened from the night in the cell. The fabric tears. The tattoo is exposed. An eagle clutching a broken chain. A number beneath it that appears in no official database. The mark of Directorate 7. The room falls absolutely silent. Polk is the first to react. He straightens to attention, his hand rising in a salute. "Directorate 7, he says quietly. "I knew it." Brennan stares at the tattoo. His face drains of color. That is not possible." Whitmore steps forward. His voice carries across the silent room. "Agent Dalton holds operational authority that supersedes every person in this room, including myself." He looks around at the stunned faces. "She spent 4 days on this base being mocked, harassed, and threatened. She allowed herself to be arrested, assaulted, and nearly killed, all to protect a mission that most of you will never know existed." He turns to face the assembled officers. "This is what service looks like. Not medals, not glory, sacrifice that no one sees, courage that no one applauds." He pauses. "Remember that. All of you." Marin steps forward. The cuffs are still on her wrists, but she stands as if they are not there. "There is something I need to say." The room waits. "For 4 days, I let you believe I was nothing. A clerk, a target, someone beneath your notice." Her eyes sweep across the crowd. "I did this because the mission required it, but I also did it to prove a point." She pauses. "I let them mock me because mockery reveals character. I let them exclude me because exclusion shows who belongs to what tribe. I let them attack me because attackers grow careless when they think their victim cannot fight back." Her gaze finds Stanton, now restrained between 2 MPs. "You thought my silence was weakness. You thought my patience was fear. You thought you could break me because I looked like someone who could be broken." She shakes her head slowly. "You were wrong. My silence was strategy. My patience was discipline. And my apparent weakness was bait. Bait that you swallowed whole." She turns to the Admiral. "The network is exposed. The evidence is secured. The mission is complete. A beat. But the real enemy is still out there. Stanton was a tool. Caldwell was a technician. Someone higher funded this operation, someone who is still free." Whitmore nods. We are aware. The investigation continues. Good. Marin looks at the crowd one final time. I have one more thing to say. To anyone who thinks that the quiet ones are not dangerous. To anyone who believes that rank determines worth. To anyone who mistakes kindness for weakness or patience for surrender. Her voice drops. We are always watching. We are always listening. And when you least expect it, we will be there. Not with noise, not with fury, with evidence, with precision, with justice that does not announce itself until it is too late to run. She holds out her cuffed wrists to the nearest MP. Now, someone want to take these off? She endured 4 days of humiliation to expose a network of traitors. She let them believe she was broken while she was actually building the case that would destroy them. If this story moved you, share it right now. And subscribe for the next chapter, because the person who funded Stanton is still out there. Tower 4 is waiting, and Agent Dalton is just getting started. The consequence cascade begins within the hour. Stanton, Caldwell, and the captured guards are transferred to military detention aboard one of the Blackhawks. The charges filed against them fill 17 pages. Espionage, treason, conspiracy. The murder of Petty Officer Daniel Reeves, whose training accident 3 months ago has now been reclassified as assassination. If convicted, they face life imprisonment at minimum. Holt is collected from the medical bay, his head still bandaged, his shoulder in a sling. He does not resist when the MPs read him his rights. He knows how this ends. The base goes into immediate lockdown. Every communication system is audited. Every personnel file is reviewed. Every security protocol is torn apart and rebuilt from scratch. 3 additional service members are quietly arrested when their connections to the network are confirmed. A supply sergeant who facilitated dead drops, a communications technician who provided encrypted channels, a junior officer who accepted cash to look the other way. The rot ran deeper than anyone knew. But it is being excised now, layer by layer, name by name. At the Pentagon, a task force is formed. Codename, Operation Clean Sweep. Marin's methodology becomes the template for identifying insider threats across every branch of service. At the base, mandatory training is announced, recognizing bias, reporting suspicious activity, treating every service member with dignity regardless of rank or assignment. Some grumble about the changes, most do not. They remember how easily they dismissed the woman who saved them all. Brennan finds Marin outside the briefing room as the chaos begins to settle. She is standing alone, looking out at the ocean. The Pacific stretches to the horizon, gray and endless under the afternoon clouds. He approaches slowly, stops 3 feet away. Ma'am. She does not turn. Chief Brennan. He stops, starts again. I do not know where to begin. Then begin at the beginning. He takes a breath. I treated you like you were nothing. Worse than nothing. I humiliated you in front of my team because it made me feel powerful. I stole your coffee. I knocked your clipboard to the floor. I called you names that I am ashamed to repeat. His voice cracks slightly. And the whole time, you were operating at a level I did not even know existed, protecting people like me from threats like them. He pauses. I was wrong, not just about you, about everything, about what strength means, about what service means, about who deserves respect and who does not. He forces himself to meet her eyes. I am sorry, truly sorry. Not because you turned out to be important, because what I did was wrong regardless of who you were. Marin is silent for a long moment, then she turns to face him. Chief Brennan, you blocked Stanton when he tried to reach me. You put him on the ground when he would not stand down. Why? Brennan frowns. Because it was the right thing to do. Even though I was a prisoner, even though you thought I was guilty, something felt wrong. The way he was acting, the desperation in his eyes. Brennan shakes his head. And honestly, you did not look like someone who had been beaten. You looked like someone who was waiting. I did not understand it at the time, but some part of me knew. That instinct saved the operation. Marin's voice softened slightly. If Stanton had reached me, if he had created a hostage situation, the outcome would have been very different. Your intervention mattered. Brennan blinks. He had not thought of it that way. It does not erase what I did before, he says. No, it does not. She turns back to the ocean. But it is a start. Change is not a single moment, Chief. It is a series of choices. Today, you made a better choice than yesterday. Tomorrow, make another. That is how you become someone different. And if I fail? Then you try again. That is what discipline means, not perfection. Persistence. Brennan stands beside her, watching the waves crash against the cliffs below. Can I ask you something? You can ask. How did you do it? 4 days of everyone treating you like garbage. How did you not break? Marin considers the question. I have been in worse places than this. Darker places. Places where the enemy was not just rude, but actively trying to kill me every hour of every day. She pauses. After that, words are just words. Mockery is just noise. The only thing that matters is the mission, and the mission required me to endure. That sounds lonely. It is. No hesitation, no deflection. But loneliness is a price I am willing to pay. Because the work matters. The people I protect matter. And when I succeed, even if no one knows my name, even if no one ever says thank you, I know that I made a difference. She reaches into her pocket, pulls out her challenge coin, holds it so the eagle catches the fading light. This is what I serve. Not a flag, not a general, an idea. The idea that some things are worth protecting at any cost. She puts the coin away. Find your own version of that, Chief Brennan. Find the thing that matters more than your ego, more than your reputation, more than your comfort, and serve it with everything you have. She walks away before he can respond. Brennan watches her go. He has received feedback before, performance reviews, critiques from superior officers. None of them ever hit like this, because she is right. He has spent his entire career chasing excellence, being the best, standing above everyone else, but he never asked what he was standing for. For the first time in years, Colt Brennan considers the possibility that being elite is not the same as being good. And he decides, standing there on the cliff above the Pacific, that it is time to become both. The memorial service is held at sunset. A photograph, a folded flag, a challenge coin at the base of a temporary marker. Petty Officer Second Class Daniel Reeves, 26 years old, the first victim of the network. The reason Marin spent 6 months preparing for this mission. The ceremony is brief. Whitmore speaks. A chaplain offers words of comfort. Taps plays from a speaker as the sun sinks toward the horizon. Marin stands at the back of the small crowd. She did not know Reeves personally, but she knows what he represented. A good sailor who asked the wrong questions. A loyal American who paid the ultimate price for his integrity. His death is why she endured everything. And now he has justice. After the ceremony, she approaches the memorial, places her own challenge coin beside his. I did not forget, she says quietly. None of us forgot. She stands there until the sun disappears beneath the waves. Then she turns and walks toward the waiting helicopter. Whitmore is already aboard. He hands her a tablet as she settles into her seat. Tower 4, he says. The facility that funded Stanton's network. We have confirmed its location. The tablet shows satellite imagery, desert terrain, high walls, guard towers, a compound that officially does not exist in a country they are not officially operating in. When do I leave? 48 hours. We are assembling a support team. This one will not be solo. Marin studies the imagery, calculates approaches, identifies vulnerabilities. There is something else, Whitmore says. He swipes to a new screen. A message recovered from Holt's phone, one he received but never opened. The message is simple. Buyer confirmed. Not Stanton. Higher. Marin reads it twice. Higher. Someone above Stanton in the network. That is our interpretation as well. Whitmore's face is grim, which means this operation is not over. We cut off a limb, but the body is still moving. Then we find the body. Marin sets down the tablet. And we destroy it. The helicopter lifts off. The base shrinks below them, lights flickering on as darkness falls. Marin looks out the window at the fading coastline. Somewhere out there, a predator is hiding. Someone who funded traitors and ordered murders and sold American secrets to the highest bidder. Someone who believes they are untouchable. They are wrong. She will find them. She will expose them. And she will bring them the same justice she brought to Stanton. Not with noise, not with fury, with patience, with precision, with evidence that cannot be denied. The helicopter banks east toward the mainland, toward the next mission, toward Tower 4. Marin closes her eyes. In 48 hours, she will be infiltrating a foreign compound, hunting a shadow, burning another piece of the network that threatens everything she has sworn to protect. She is ready. She is always ready.
Every soldier carry a story that few ever hear. Listen with your heart. Thank you for staying and watching. Subscribe to MVB Story for more.